I think that a good segue into that is the due diligence that you did when you bought the Garland on the Horizon insert, because that's a card that I looked it up. So the PSA lookup tool, there's only 7 PSA 9s and there's only 4 graded higher. So the
Yep.
pop count of that card is 11 for PSA graded. And there's not that many comps of it on eBay, but we love Darius Garland. He's been a fixture atop the Sports Card Investment Report at nooffseason.com, which we always encourage you to check out. And I did a little bit of research for you, but talk about the research that you did when you pulled the trigger, because you ended up pulling the trigger kind of independently of what I think we probably both came to the same conclusion, but I'm kind of curious for you to tell the audience your thought process when pulling the trigger on that Garland card, because it was not a cheap card.
No, it was not a cheap card, but at the same time, I mean, I think it was not in my budget, but my thought process was I've been looking for a great Garland piece and there's not many. And I mean, I'm not a fan of buying another mosaic variation or I mean, I might be the only collector slash investor that doesn't like Prism. And Garland himself is, I think he's a very one of a kind type of player, because a lot of people overlook him, but the people that know the guy and like him, they really, really do like him. And some people can throw a lot of, I mean, I've saw people having $10 and $15,000 cards of Darius Garland, which I'm not ready to invest that much into him yet. But yeah, I think this card is pretty short print. It's a nice insert, and also I wanted to dip my toes into, like I said, these short prints that are like kabooms and downtowns and all that stuff. So Garland not having many autos, the only one he has, You Own It. The Goodwin rookie auto. So that was my thought process. And I mean, this I know the seller was selling it to me at a fair price. And I think that when the Cavaliers make the playoffs and even in the years future, this card is going to value much more. So at some point you got to learn to, even if you didn't plan it, didn't budget it, you got to learn to pull a trigger when the time comes. And that's what I did. I mean, I just said, I don't think, even if, let's say, a bad luck happens or something and I need to sell this card right away, I don't think I'm going to sell it for less than what I paid for. And not because I had a crazy deal on it. That wasn't the case. I don't think you can look at a crazy deal on these cards. But yeah, I think that if need be, I'm just gonna put it for sale for what I paid and just gonna get my money back. That's it. That's all. So yeah.
Yeah, I think that's probably a good worst case scenario. So before you say what you paid for this card, let me guess at it. But before I guess, I'm going to walk you through my process researching this card, because I think for the audience, this is the bare minimum of what you should do. And I think so Greg is great at finding these, I'll call them short printed or serial numbered cards that you don't see. Greg finds cards that like you don't see a lot of comps for every day. Like there's cards that like I know the comps for off the top of my head just because of like being in the numbers all the time. But Greg does a great job of sort of like challenging me to help him with some of these investments because he finds these cards that just don't have comps. And so I think first of all, it's a good sign to find a card that doesn't have a lot of comps, and then to do the minimum due diligence of Googling like the name of the card and finding out what set it's from. especially when it's an insert, because I think you want to know, like, then you can look up, like, how much does a sealed hobby box or blaster box of that set sell for? And then you can go to the eBay sold listings for that. And then, of course, going to the eBay sold listings for that card and allow the eBay results to show you, like, it literally says on eBay, completed listings, sold listings, but also, like, take out some of the qualifiers. So this, in Greg's case, this was a PSA 9. I just put Darius Garland on the horizon because I want to see what comes back from SGC or Raw or PSA 8 or PSA 10, et cetera, et cetera. And then I go to the PSA, because this is a PSA graded card, and Greg sent me the photo of it. I go to psacard.com/cert, and then I type in the certification number, and then it shows me that this is an actual serial number, certification number card rather, brand Panini on the horizon, Darius Garland, mint 9, population higher 4, which means there's 4 10s, population 7, which means there's 7 9s. So very, very low pop card. So what set is it from? It's Panini Rewards exclusive, which means that it actually, in theory, is very exclusive. Only people can only redeem it with a certain amount of Panini Rewards direct from Panini. That's neither good nor bad. That's just the facts. So the other thing I like about this card is, even though it's 2020, it does it technically must be 2019, 2020, because it is a Darius Garland rookie card. It has the RC designation on it. So to have an exclusive insert from Panini Rewards with the RC designation for a player that doesn't have any licensed autos, which we hit on in the last episode that we did together. And then to get it a PSA 9, which is a very high, like a grade that is a desirable grade for an insert like this. Seeing that the last raw comps in the last basically like 8 weeks, this card has sold raw for about an average of $450 to $500 US raw. Then there was a let's see. There's a gold out of 10 variation of this card, which is sold a few times, but we can't really get. So then on December 18th, 2021, there was a PSA 8 of this exact card that sold for $270. Now, even though we're going back to December, this is a very, very rare card, and Darius Garland has outperformed himself since December. He's become an all-star. He's put up a 40-point game. He's averaging 20 points and almost 9 assists, blah, blah, blah. So his performance has gone up. So I would say that minimum this PSA 9 is worth, it's worth $600 US right now. Like as like a fair market value, like $600 US right now. So if you can convert from Canadian to US for me, quickly,
let's talk US
in your brain.
Let's talk US. My
guess, since you feel good about the deal that you got on this card, is that you paid $550-ish US, maybe a little bit more for this card. That would be what I would. And if you paid less, then I think you're in a position where you could probably sell it over the next 6 to 8 weeks for that price. So then your profit margin would be, you'd have one, which is great. So
I paid less than that.
Okay.
I paid less than that. I paid $495 US.
Okay. No, that's so I think, based on all those factors where it sold raw for 430 about a month ago, it sold in PSA 8 for 270 a couple months ago. It's super rare. Darius Garland's playing very, very well. I think that the 495 is I don't want to say a steal because it's still like $500, but I think it's a great price. Like I would say that you could probably sell that today for 550.
Agreed. I don't want to flip it now. I mean, this is the type of card also that you could it could probably sit in my PC for a couple of months, years. I mean, I don't think I'll flip it in the playoffs. If the Cavs win a round of playoffs, I think this card could skyrocket, and in the next years as well. So we'll see how it goes. There's also a conversation that we could, keep for another episode, or learning to be patient, which I'm very not good at. I mean, and I know our Facebook group is very active and very fun to chat with different people. Also on the Sports Card Nonsense Facebook group, I saw a post, and I believe you reacted on it as well, was what's your worst buy and your worst selling mistake that you've did in the hobby so far? And I think all the answers, every answer of what's your biggest mistake selling was I sold too early. Like people having Mike Trout and selling him in 2013 or something. They're like, oh my God, this card is worth so much right now. And that's what I was going to list a lot of Lewis Hamilton cards that I have. Well, a few Hamilton cards that I have. And I was thinking, in 10 years from now, how much are Lewis cards going to go for? And I just popped the brakes and I went like, even if you list them above comps and people give you your wanting price on it, you're going to make what, $100 and $150 more on a card that you thought. But in 10 years from now, the first set of Lewis Hamilton cards, how much is it going to be worth? Even base, you don't even know. So
yeah, I think that's a good point. I mean, I think like my mistake was assuming that like, and this was a couple years ago, but a couple years ago I was like, well, I like Darius Garland and I see his PSA 10 Prism is only $50. I'm going to buy that because 2 or 3 years from now, that's going to be $1,000. But what I didn't really realize is that there's nothing special about that PSA 10 base Prism, other than the fact that the only thing that gives it value really is that it's a PSA 10. Whereas this Garland on the Horizon insert is a rare insert that you can take. I think the other thing is you could take this to any card show in the next 2 years and get a real good idea for what you could get for it. Because I think that this is more of a card show card. You have a lot of leverage with this card. You have a lot of options. Like it's a card show card. It's an eBay. It's a potential eBay card years from now. I think the Cavs are going to be good for a long time. I think with Garland and Mobley together are going to get, and Jared Allen, they give the Cavs a core that I think they're going to be in the mix for a long time. So I agree. I think like this is a card you feel good about keeping for a long time, and I think it only appreciates in value. So let me ask you. I love your move. So good job. I would have done. And I also like one thing I don't want to gloss over is you made an important point when you said it wasn't in my budget, but this is the type of card where you just kind of stop and you go, this is still X amount of dollars well spent because of the card. And when you do these are the things that you and I learn as we do this more. And so I think that's something to hit on to the audience. So thanks everybody for your questions, sportscardstrategy.com. I'm Paul Hickey with nooffseason.com. Thank you for watching and listening to the Sports Card Strategy Show with my man co-host Greg Lanctot. Greg, great having you here today. We were brought to you by Market Movers app. MarketMoversApp.com by Sports Card Investor. Go there. Use the promo code NOOFFSEASON, all lowercase, to save 20%. And we will see you back here soon. Everybody, thanks and have a great day.